Next question was Ralph, or from Ralph. He says, "Hey Bradley, quick question. How do you rank in the Google 3-pack in 2024?" Well, there's a lot that goes into it, but right now, what I think is the most important kind of elements, the biggest levers that we can pull to rank in a Maps 3-pack right now is on-page optimization for the self-hosted site is critically important. I see more of a correlation between how the website itself is optimized that is connected to the GBP. So how the website that is connected to the GBP is optimized and the performance of the map, Google Business Profile and map search. Several years ago, I didn't see much of a correlation between that. But now there is a very significant correlation between how the how the website, the self-hosted site is optimized and how the GBP performs. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is the Google Business Profile itself. How is that optimized? Is it fleshed out properly? Is all the sections completed? Are you providing as much detail and data to Google as possible, which in turn is you're making that data available to prospective clients too, right? Or prospective customers of that business. And then in addition to just the optimization of the GBP, there are activity and engagement signals, things that you have control over and some things that you don't. And that is, for example, like publishing Google Business posts regularly and referencing especially for local businesses, guys, like service area businesses, I mean, like publishing Google Business posts where you're referencing specific products or services that the business provides in the post text, as well as areas that those products or services were sold or delivered or whatever. Because again, for service area businesses, that's how you can make your profile so much more relevant than any of the competitors, is by doing things like injecting mentions of neighborhood names or street names or sections of a city or boroughs, districts, etc. If you mention various products and services in the Google Business post text, as well as reference specific geographic areas, locations, again, neighborhoods, things like that, then that gives that profile much more relevance for it. Remember, Google knows where people are now whenever they search. So if they think about, like in my industry, the tree service industry, tree service or tree service near me, those are by far get the most, those two search queries get by far the most search volume. Okay. Like it's significantly more than any of the other search queries. And so if a tree care contractor has references in a Google Business post, and by the way, this also applies to review replies. So if the GBP is getting reviews from their customers, if the business owner or whoever is managing replies goes in and replies to the review text with mentions of the products or services sold and the areas, the locations in which they sold them, where they sold them, right? Then again, that's the same. It's very similar to Google Business Posts in that you're adding relevance to that profile that it's likely none of the other competitors are doing. And so back to my example, if a tree service contractor is doing this regularly, and there's other things I'll point out in just a minute, but if a tree service contractor is regularly mentioning the areas that they've delivered or provided services to, and they mention different service variants using variants of the different services that they offer. So tree removal, tree felling, tree trimming, tree pruning, tree removal service, tree trimming service, tree care, arborist service, stump grinding, stump removal, land clearing, brush clearing, lot clearing, construction clearing. Like these are all variants of the services that they provide. So if they mix in a kind of they diversify the words that they use within their review replies or Google Business posts, and then mention things like a neighborhood name, for example, then think about that. When a customer or potential customer is in that same neighborhood and they just do a generic search query like tree service or tree service near me, or let's say they, tree trimming company near me, right? They might put that in there. Well, if the Google Business or the tree care contractor has referenced tree trimming service in one of their Google Business posts or review replies, and it mentions that specific neighborhood name, then Google is much more likely to show an impression of that GBP, even if it's not in the same kind of proximity parameters that most other GBPs. It doesn't happen overnight with a one and done. You can't post one time a neighborhood name and expect it to just always rank in that neighborhood. That's not what I mean. But it's over time consistency that will do that. Another thing is Google Business, photos, publishing photo or uploading photos to the Google Business profile. It doesn't have to be through a manager account either. It can be directly through Google Maps. But taking photos out, photos and or videos from out in the field, if especially for a service area business, like again, a tree care contractor going out on jobs and snapping, 2 to 5 photos per job with their location settings turned on, enabled on their phone, which I mean, I don't know anybody that turns that shit off anyway, but with those on, that image data has a lot of rich metadata about where that photo was taken or video was taken, and uploading that directly to the Google Business Profile, not like through Google Maps. You don't have to be in a manager account, none of that. You just go to Google Maps, search for the company name. When it pops up the profile, click add photos, and then uploading photos to that and or videos. Again, that trains Google as to it's proving to Google, it's validating to Google that the business does those services in the areas that they claim they do them in, right? And so those are all things that are very, very important. But again, and backlinks, other type of engagement signals, like search and click signals, branded search and clicks, things like that, those are all valuable for ranking too. But again, where I'm seeing the biggest kind of levers that we can pull right now for Google Business Profiles for improving performance of for Google Business Profiles is on-page optimization for the self-hosted site. And then also how you connect the GBP to the self-hosted site. That's what I call the location landing page. Having that page that the GBP is linked to, again, the location landing page, that should be optimized to, as Ted Kubota said, provide agreement with how the GBP is optimized. In other words, the location landing page should corroborate how the GBP is optimized. And I see a lot of mistakes where service area business that has a lot of location pages on their site, so that because they're trying to get rankings in adjacent cities and towns, etc., they will link to their home page from their Google Business Profile because they only have one GBP, and they think that they should be linking to their home page, but their home page is not optimized for that specific area where the GBP is located. It's optimized for a broader geographic area, and so the map won't perform as well. The GBP won't perform as well in its own local area because the location landing page is not corroborating what it is linked to, like how the GBP is optimized, and what it's linked to is not corroborating or validating that data. Does that make sense? So I've been teaching for the last several months now that even for single location single Google Business Profile businesses that only have one GBP, if it's a service area business, they should still link to a dedicated location landing page that is optimized for the specific area, city that the Google Business Profile is physically located in. Because that right there will help that GBP to perform better in its own local area. You can still target trying to expand by having supporting location pages, so that you can try to push maps coverage expansion, right? So get more coverage area with the GBP, but also to rank organically in those areas. But the GBP should be linked to a dedicated page optimized for that specific city that the GBP is registered to or located in, if that makes sense. And so I see a lot of mistakes with service area businesses that are making mistakes right now. And by the way, I don't know that it was a mistake before, but I'm saying now things have changed a lot over the last 2 years. And so that's what I'm teaching now is on-page optimization is critically important, both for the GBP and the self-hosted site. More so now than I think it's ever been, at least in my experience. If that's clear. Okay. It's a great question, though.